Halal in food, yes. Things that are permissible.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for $2.99 subs. How would you like it?
I'll take Drill Sergeant, please.
You got it. All right, now listen up. I want each and every one of you to drop and give me a 6-inch meatball marinara, cold cut combo, veggie delight, or Black Forest ham on your choice of bread with any veggies you want for just $2.99 each.
Sir, yes, sir!
Subway! Make it what you want at participating restaurants. Additional charge for extras plus applicable tax. No additional discounts or coupons may be applied.
This is a download from BFM 89.9, the business station.
Good evening, I'm Esme Joseph. This is Love, Life, and Everything in Between, a curious guide into the world of relationships. So, this evening, we'll be talking about dating. Not just the conventional style of dating, but another form of dating that is slowly gaining traction in Malaysia. They call it halal dating.
Halal in food, yes. Things that are permissible for Muslims to eat. But yeah, that's about the context that I know. Others I don't really know.
So, what about halal dating? What is the first thing that came to your mind?
First thing that comes to mind is I didn't know dating was not halal before this. Yeah.
Halal dating, in a way, is a way of, from what I understand, is a way of meeting potential life partners in a halal way, in the sense that, of course, touching is not permitted of any form, and also that I think what's meant to happen is supposed to be a guide or a chaperone, whether it's someone that you know or someone else of a third party, to make sure that things happen the kosher way.
The definition, I think the modern definition of halal dating, I think is something halal, meeting someone within the boundaries of the religion. Yeah, so I think that's how I would define halal dating.
Yeah, I think halal dating is interesting because you kind of have the idea that it's bounded by a certain rule, like a certain someone, like how Muslims are not supposed to date with each other, like just the two of them. It has to be like chaperoned by your parents or your friends.
Dating in the conventional sense doesn't carry the same meaning for folks within the Muslim community. Touching each other's hands or a kiss on the lips and other similar actions are regarded to be forbidden. In that, they are prohibited to do so until two people are legally and religiously married. But what would we define as halal dating?
So when it comes to courtship and this whole halal dating side of things, the point from the start has always been to get married. The point of it all is to find your other half, or how my wife would like me to say, your better half, right? So it's all about finding the spouse, finding the love of your life, and so on and so forth for marriage. From the start, it's never been to just have fun or just fool around or just to see if this person is okay or not. It's just straight away from the point is to get married, and with obviously the permission or the involvement of the families as well. Yeah.
That is Izzuddin Omar, one of our guests this evening. He works for Halal Speed Dating, a matchmaking platform for Muslims who are in search of a spouse while adhering to Islamic guidelines. Later on, I'll also speak to the co-founders, Mr. Zuhri and Ms. Munirah Tunai, whom also happen to be husband and wife. Now back to the concept of halal dating.
Halal speed dating as a whole, the spirit of it's about social impact, delivering these values, the Islamic values, to society. Because our background is we do a lot of social activity work, feeding the homeless, bedridden babies, teen pregnancy. So we see all these things. In fact, our personalities are about social impact, social activists, being social activists. So this is not just a business; it's about values also. So to run a proper organization, being a business model, it has to work as a business model. But the main aim is to change society for the better. So that's the spirit of halal speed dating.
Dating is not a concept that has gained wide acceptance within mainstream Muslim communities. Young Muslim men and women, or boys and girls, aren't encouraged to enter into one on one intimate relationships or to spend time alone together. Rather, premarital relationships of any kind between members of the opposite sex is forbidden or seen as taboo. So, with a combination of religious, social, and cultural reasons, finding your life partner can be pretty challenging.
All right, now tell us about halal speed dating. How did this idea came about?
Well, there are several factors. One of it is my own difficulty in looking to find a spouse. Well, the dating game is a very difficult and full of heartbreaks and all that jazz. So, my friend Aizuddin here, we've gone a long way since college. He nudged me in a way. He twisted my arm to go to this. It's a matchmaking event. So I went, and I find it, of course, awkward, and it was quite a nervous thing to go through, but it was a proper thing to do.
So it's basically an event open to single Muslim people?
This is a part of the Islamic course. So it was a side event, but it was quite an important one for us singles. And, learning from that is just not enough matchmaking, services out there. To help single young people to get married, because our statistics says there's 4.3 million Malaysians who are still single and finding it difficult to find a spouse.
And why did you guys decided to make it halal?
Well, okay. We decided to be that way because, first of all, people, those who are interested in this matchmaking, they are only interested for marriage. So when we say halal and when we set some guidelines, it's basically to filter out the non-serious people and to invite the serious people to come to our speed dating program. So the halal bit is okay. For instance, we require that the lady candidates to come in with her chaperone, ideally her father or mom. It can be the her brother or sister or any of her friend, and then we don't allow for them to exchange their names, their phone numbers. So basically during the session is basically for them to, it's an introductory meetup for them to find out whether they are suitable to have that conversation of marriage. If they find themselves suitable, let's say they selected each other when we call this a match, then we will connect them by giving the lady's father or mother's phone number to the gentleman. So he would then call that number, introduce himself, and state and basically ask permission to get to know her further. And we do this is because we feel that when we involve parents, the older people early on, it's making the interaction fight. And since marriage, ideal, we have to have the consent of the parents anyway, so it's good to involve them as early on as possible.
According to Zuhri, many of the halal speed dating applicants are finding it difficult to look for a suitable marriage partner. To help solve this problem, he implements what he describes as the 3 secret spices.
Our matchmaking service consists of 3 secret spice. Spice 1, marriage in mind. No time for dating hanky-panky. Spice 2, guardian participation during matchmaking process. Spice 3, contact confidentiality. No contacts are shared between candidates. If there is a match, we will connect the male participant to the woman's guardian.
Are both female and male participants required to bring chaperones?
The guys are not required to bring chaperone, but they are encouraged to bring their wingmen. We call them wingmen, because I guess, well, attending this matchmaking maybe can be a bit nerve-wracking. So the presence of his wingman is to give that support, to assist in helping him to make that preliminary decision. But it's not a requirement, only for the ladies.
All right. So what is the success rate?
All right, awesome. Let's get to this. We have 3 couples engaged to be married, and this year, and we just had a couple who got married last weekend. They met at halal speed dating. Within 2 months, they got married.
But what Islamic principles is halal dating attached to?
All right. Let me just take it back a bit, because when we say halal dating in Islam, there is no such thing as halal dating per se, because in Islam, the point of it all from the start has always been about marriage. So it's more appropriate to say, let's say, to call it courtship rather than halal dating, because dating implies something else. Dating does not necessarily mean you have to be committed all the way straight into marriage. Dating can also mean, can also imply that you're there just to have fun, or just to find romance, or just to fool around even, right? So in Islam, there's no such thing as halal dating per se, but people refer to that because that's a term that is commonly used nowadays, commonly referred to. Anyways, so when it comes to courtship, and this whole, like you said, the halal dating side of things, the point from the start has always been to get married. The point of it all is to find your other half, or how my wife would like me to say, your better half, right? So it's all about finding the spouse, finding the love of your life, and so on and so forth, for marriage from the start. It's never been to just have fun, or just fool around, or just to see if this person is okay or not. It's just straight away from the point is to get married, and with obviously the permission or the involvement of the families as well.
When we come back, I find out what happens during a halal speed dating session with Zuhri, Munira, and Aizuddin from Halal Speed Dating. This is Love, Life, and Everything in Between. I'm Esme Joseph, BFM 89.9.
Break from mediocrity. BFM 89.9.
Good evening, I'm Esme Joseph. This is Love, Life, and Everything in Between, a curious guide into the world of relationships. Today, we're talking about halal dating. I've been speaking to Zuhri Yui and Munira Tunai, a married couple who are also the co-founders of Halal Speed Dating. There's also Aizuddin Omar, their in-house speaker. Earlier, we covered the concept of halal dating. Premarital relationships or expressions of affection are not encouraged and, in most cases, forbidden within Muslim communities. Hence, the demand for a platform where single Muslim men and women are in search for suitable life partners. An important aspect to the search process is the involvement of family members. But with so many people involved in the process, I'm curious about what happens at a halal speed dating event.
Okay, just as you imagine the regular speed dating, I think in the movie Hitch, right? Yeah. They have a speed dating session. It's basically just like that, where men would move from table to table of the ladies. The ladies would be seated down with her chaperone. So they are given 8 minutes so that they can have that conversation, just to see whether there might be some attraction going on. And after the end of the 8 minutes, we would ring the bell, and then so the gentleman would get up and move to the next table. Each session we have 12 ladies and 12 gentlemen. So after speaking to all 12, at the end of the session, everybody will be writing down their top 3 choices of whom they might think can be suitable, compatible. And so when they handed in their selection, and then we will tally. if there is a match, meaning if somebody, let's say you as me, choose a guy A, B, C, and let's say guy B chooses you as well, that would be called a match. Okay, so that's when we connect you guys two by giving Esme's father's phone number to the gentleman, and he will, if he's a gentleman and he's really serious about getting to know you, he would call you within 3 days. We give them a 3 days deadline. It's a fair deadline for everybody because we don't want to make the ladies to keep on waiting. So what we say to the lady, if you haven't received the call within 3 days, that man is just not into you. That's what they always say anyway. So well, for us, basically we just have to respect his decision. Like he might have whatever reason not to call, but it's a fair deadline for everybody. And most of our matches, they do make a call anyway. So they would call the lady's father and then introduce himself and state his intention, basically to get to know her further. And the father would naturally give him his daughter's name and phone number, and that's when they will start getting to know each other.
During the speed dating process, each candidate is speaking to the girl. Are the chaperones allowed to communicate as well?
Absolutely.
I don't know how.
I mean, they're there also to be as a confidant and to someone to counsel them, and not just moral support. They can also ask like questions because this person is going to marry into the family. So it's about how are you going to fit into the family.
So let's say a couple matches and the gentleman is then given the lady's chaperone's number. Okay, and then from then on, is up to the couple, I imagine. What happens?
It's up to the couple. So they would try to find whether they are compatible with each other. Usually what I advise them is to give themselves good timeline to find out about that, to find out whether they are suitable or not for the next phase. If they basically, that timeline is so that I would advise that they don't really give themselves emotionally early on. It's basically just to find out whether they are compatible or not for the next phase. So if they find themselves suitable, then okay, then they can move on. But if not, then they should just part amicably and move on their separate ways to continue their effort in finding their marriage partner.
Can you explain to me how prospective couples get to know each other? What's the difference to this part of dating, or what you term as ta'aruf?
Well, let's not call it dating. It's actually in Islam, it's called ta'aruf. It's a get to know phase of a relationship where, of course, these two candidates must always still be observed or supervised by a family member. So perhaps they could.
They can go out in a like what you say, conventional dating out there, and go out in public, just have a space for them to talk to each other and find out a bit more for each other. But that is after the permission of the father of the lady, right? It's not, you're not, again, it is not like the conventional dating where someone might be sneaking out to go out and have a date somewhere, right? It's not how it works. It's after if you're really serious, you talk to my father. After that, you can come and find out about myself and how my family and how we can get married and how we are fit with for each other. So in that period, after they have found out that they think they're a match, they're getting to know each other period. Yes, that is obviously encouraged in Islam, and yes, it is after the knowledge and the permission of the parents or the guardian.
Would you actually try halal dating? I would try just out of curiosity and just to experience it, because um I think it's an interesting way of meeting someone. Like you don't know exactly like who you're gonna meet, or who are the other candidates, on that certain event. So yeah, I think I would give it a try.
So, Not yet. Purely because I don't I don't believe in that concept of dating. Not the halal dating. As a matter of fact, I think even speed dating in general. Yeah, I don't yet believe in the concept of, or rather, I don't think it's the time has come for me to actually use services like this, speed dating and whatnot. And I would prefer to meet someone in a more natural environment.
I personally, for me, I don't want to put any labels on how I interact with friends or relationships that I conduct. I think it's everyone has your own different comfort levels when it comes to interactions, when it comes to their faith as well. Meeting people is a very complicated process, and if you want to meet people within certain guidelines and certain tenets and in a certain box, perhaps for me I'll never meet that person, right? And that would be a bigger concern to me.
Are more Muslims taking the halal dating path in finding their life partners? We find out after this. This is Love, Life, and Everything in Between. I'm Asmi Joseph, BFM 89.9.
Bring forth Moolah, BFM 89.9.
Good evening, I'm Asmi Joseph. This is Love, Life, and Everything in Between, a curious guide into the world of relationships. Today, we're talking about halal dating. I've been speaking to Zuhri Yuyi and Munirah Tunai, a married couple who are also the co-founders of Halal Speed Dating. There's also Aizudin Omar, their in-house speaker. Halal Speed Dating is a matchmaking platform for Muslims who are in search of a spouse while adhering to Islamic guidelines. Earlier, I spoke to them about the meaning of halal dating and the process of halal speed dating. So, are there more and more Muslims taking this halal dating path in finding their life partners?
There's a lot of it. I would say probably most of it is going through the conventional way, but there are a lot of people who still stick with the what do you call it, on the Islamic side and how it is done in the Islamic manner. In the conventional way, not that there's generally, I wouldn't say there's something wrong with that. It's just that because that is more of culture, following the culture rather than going on the Islamic side, whether you're following more on the religion side, that is happening a lot. What we're trying to bring here with this, with our initiative, is to remind people the culture is culture. Yeah, that's definitely there. But on the Islamic side, there's also a way to do it, and it's a lot simpler. It's a lot more straightforward. There's not a lot of you don't have to get your aunties and your uncles all that involved, and then things get complicated, and then things get more expensive. In Islam, it's moderation. In Islam, it's always going back to the roots, and again, the point is for them to be married.
In Islam, men are allowed to marry up to 4 wives. So, can people look for another wife to marry on your halal speed dating service?
If the guy is stated that he is interested in looking for a second wife and so on, I say, okay, fine, that's good for you, but you'll be at the bottom of the list, so to speak. They're not our main focus right now, because, like I said, there's a lot of single brothers out there that need our help and need a platform where they can find women who have the same intention and the same mindset as they do. So let's focus on them first. Let's help them out first. Then we'll worry about the marriage demand.
Well, that is the sunnah of the Prophet, and we are not against it. But as a business, it's not our focus, because the number of people who are still single, divorcees, single parents, are still a great many, and we're addressing these people first.
I just want to talk a little bit about the parents. Now, what are some of the concerns of the parents when it comes to their child looking for a future partner?
Well, I would say I'm sure most parents they feel that it's up to the to the children to find their own life partner, but I would say as parents as well, it's good that they maybe influence them in in making that decision, because as parents they've got all these years of wisdom as a couple building a family, and I would say children who are already now adults. I mean, it's okay to include their parents in in helping them decide or shaping their decision of finding that suitable life partner. Yeah.
Do you think it's the parents' responsibility to make sure that their kids find the perfect partner for themselves?
Technically, it's the father's or guardian's responsibility to find a suitable, spouse for the daughter or even the sons. But that we're here to make that easy for the parents as well, making the halal easy, making it more efficient. So we're not just catering to the singletons, but also the parents of the singletons.
Yeah, because it is because it is their right as well to ensure that their daughter are in good hands, because especially in Islam, the
to the singletons, but also the parents of the singletons.
Yeah, because it is because it is their right as well to ensure that their daughter are in good hands, because especially in Islam, the guardianship or the guardianship is for women transfers from the father to the husband. So all her life, before she gets married, the number one person in her life is the father that she has to obey or be responsible to, right? But the minute she gets married, that guardianship or that role transfers to the husband. So now, as a father, they would want to make sure that their daughter is in good hands, is indeed getting married to a real man, a man who can take care of their daughter and take care of the responsibilities that I have taken all these years of. So that is one of the concerns that they have.
Do you think the younger generation is aware of the halal way of getting to know your spouse?
Probably not as educated as how, say, previous generations were. They may, like you said, they are exposed to so many things, and in fact, they know a lot more things than we do nowadays, right? So it is again important for us to start educating them as well, and how we do this as our own initiative is to hopefully in the future, right, from in the future start making Islamic courses or about marriage, on how to get married and what is the proper way, right? Generally, the idea there, yeah, you're right in the sense where they're exposed to a lot of things, and that's where the challenge is even bigger on our side as well. And but on generally the conversation should always be open, right? It should be the conversations about marriage should already be starting at home already, right? We're just providing the platform for for single people to get married, but the conversation of mommy, daddy, I want to get married, how should I proceed, and so on and so forth, that should start at home, really, not with us. We can only do so much. We're just a platform just to connect people.
All over the world, more and more halal dating apps are coming up. In the United States, you have Minder, dedicated to helping connect progressive, smart, fun, and interesting Muslims with each other. In Canada, you have Salam Swipe, a new app for Muslims looking for love and marriage. It uses the same swiping system as the hookup app, Tinder. According to stats provided by the Sharia Judiciary Department of Malaysia, the number of Muslim couples getting divorced rose by 2.3 times, from over 20,000 in 2004 to over 45,000 in 2012 and close to 50,000 in 2013. What do you think we could be doing wrong when it comes to choosing the right partner to marry?
I wouldn't say there's a single reason to the high divorce rate. It's a whole number of reasons or a mixture of them. One such problem that we notice and we try to address is that, especially when getting married, there's so much focus on the wedding and not enough on the actual marriage. Right? There's so much focus on that one big night or that one big reception. You want to make it great and you want to be the king and queen of the day, but then you forget about the rest of your life. That one day may be fantastic, but then what about the rest of your life that you'll be spending with this person? Right? So from the beginning, their priorities have sort of twisted or shifted a bit because their focus is not there. Second, I would say there's communication issues where, say, the guy is expecting the girl to be like this and like that and stay the same way, stay the same as how she looks over the number of years. People change, right? After marriage or after kids, right? The woman will change, and then on the other side, the women expect the guy to be, he's going to be this top physical specimen with six packs and all this tough guy macho-ness, all that for the rest of his life after marriage. And then once he doesn't have to impress you anymore that much, he lets himself go, and then the belly starts coming out and all that. So then it becomes a problem, right? Because the expectations is unrealistic. And then, like I said, and then the communication side of things, some guys are just not comfortable in terms of discussing finances, where, for instance, if she is the housewife, he doesn't want to disclose how much he earns so much. Look, I got you covered, don't worry about it. But in actuality, if you're struggling, you should communicate that with your wife. So there's not a lot of communication going on, and then or miscommunication a lot happens. So the marriage breaks down, and this creates bigger problems, and then at the end of the day, they just get divorced. Third or fourth point, I guess, where we live in a society now where if it's broken, it's just find another replacement, right? Find a replacement part instead of fixing it, right? Instead of trying to find a solution for it, instead of working things out. It's natural for you to fight. It's natural for you to have an argument. It is, however, it is important for you to know that not to let that get into your head and overtake the marriage, and then it snowballs into something bigger, and then you start nitpicking, and then do you remember the other day you said this to me and that, doing all that stuff. And then the guy is the type of guy who just bottles himself up, and then one day he just explodes. Problems get bigger, and then boom, they get divorced.
Zuhri, based on your work and experiences in dealing with your participants, what are some of the biggest challenges that Muslim men and women face when it comes to finding love and marriage?
The biggest one is they're too busy with their career. Majority of the people on our database is that they are highly qualified, practically all of them, and 20% of them have masters, about 2% have doctorates, and they are always working, they say, and no time to look for a spouse. Essentially, that is the main reason.
Yeah, they always say they appreciate for our service because I guess they see it as an efficient way to find that marriage partner, potential marriage partner, because they're just so busy. Yeah.
I've been speaking to Zuhri, Yuyi, and Munirah tonight, a married couple who are also the co-founders of Halal Speed Dating. There's also Izzuddin Omar, their in-house speaker. If you've missed any part of this program, be sure to head on to bfm.my/love and download the podcast. This has been Love, Life, and everything in between. I'm Esme Joseph, BFM 89.9.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To find more great interviews, go to bfm.my or find us on iTunes. BFM 89.9, the business station.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for $2.99 subs. How would you like it?
I'll take drill sergeant, please.
You got it. All right, now listen up. I want each and every one of you to drop and give me a 6-inch meatball marinara, cold cut combo, veggie delight, or Black Forest ham on your choice of bread with any veggies you want for just $2.99 each. Sir, yes, sir. Subway. Make it what you want at participating restaurants. Additional